Hey, Gaijin Guinea Pig here. And if you clicked on this video, you're probably thinking of going to teach English in Japan. I myself had that experience years ago, and I wanted to make this video to serve as sort of an educational slash informative resource for you in case you decide to apply to the school that I ended up working with. I worked for a Peppy Kids Club. Their corporate name is ITTTI Japan, or they just call it ITI Japan. I want to say right off the bat that I'm not planning to say anything negative or necessarily anything positive about Peppy Kids Club in this video. I really just want it to be informative and to help you out in case you're thinking of applying with them and to give you an idea of what that experience was like. So, no slander here, no gossip. Now, okay, first things first, when you apply to Peppy Kids Club, right? And I have my my emails to serve as a reference. So if you see me looking over, I'm referencing those so we can be very accurate. Now, once you apply to them, you'll probably get an email that says, hey, you should expect a phone call from one of their representatives to schedule a phone interview, right? And they're pretty loose about you giving a specific time or date that you'll be available to take that call. It's not too strict. All right. The interview itself is going to be an in-person office interview at their LA location. So if you're not based in LA, which most people aren't, then you're going to have to fly in. I happened to be living in Los Angeles at the time, so it was super convenient drive for me. Once you get to this interview location, there are some documents they're going to want you to bring, and that's one professional letter of recommendation, a personal letter of recommendation. So, you got like a former employer saying that you're cool and you're good to work with. And then you get like a letter from like a friend to, vouch for your character. A copy of your valid passport and a copy of your degree. So make sure you bring those documents with you. A Xerox copy of these things is okay, by the way. The interview itself is around 1.5 to 2 hours long, so be prepared for that. All right. Once you're at the interview, it was pretty chill, right? It was just like one person that gave you a pretty good rundown of the school, its history, and there was a video presentation on what the experience is like teaching in Japan. Obviously, you should dress formal. I mean, don't come in a t-shirt. What are you thinking? So you sit down. They show you this video. Everything's chill. Then they ask you to do like a mini demo with some flashcards, which they provided, thankfully. I didn't have any supplies with me. So they give you some flashcards and they ask you to come up with a quick lesson plan of sorts, like a quick demonstration on how you would present these flashcards to a classroom of students. At a very young age. I think it was like the 5-year-old age group. So you do that. And then, it's some basic interview questions like any other job, but there's also some questions about sort of your emotional and mental preparedness to relocating your life to another country. Then once everything's done, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks after the interview that I was contacted by them again to say that I had passed the interview, or whatever word you want to use there. It was a successful interview, and that they were going to issue my COE, which is Certificate of Eligibility, which is a document that you need in order to process your work visa. Along with the notification that your COE is going to be sent to you, they'll let you know what training session time frame they're going to be putting you in. For me, it was an August, like a late August training session. Pretty flexible in regards to when you're going to be available to depart and head to Japan. So for me, it was like training session in late August. Didn't really work for me, but they were cool about it. And they were like, hey, you can start mid-September. And then you receive all this information, employment information, along with the visa application. The placement in regards to where you're actually going to be living and working and teaching, that's not decided until 3 weeks prior to your arrival. So if you have it in your head that you're going to definitely be in this one spot, no. Placements are always based on what the school needs, basically. So if you want to be placed in Tokyo, they're going to say, well, by the time you're starting, we might not have any availability in Tokyo. We put teachers where we need them. So you do have to be flexible in regards to placement. And I think that's pretty much the norm across the board for all these English schools in Japan. It's just the nature of the business. So be flexible with your placement, and really they'll just love you all the more for it. Some things to also keep in mind: if you've been hired, there are some documents you're going to have to get. You're going to have to get a criminal background check, which is simple enough. I think you just head down to your local police agency in whatever city or town that you live in, and they should be able to just do a quick check on their computers and print out a result that says, hopefully, that you do not, in fact, have a record. That's what I was able to do. It was a simple process. I don't think it's something they hear every day, but they're pretty accommodating, at least at the police station I went to in LA. Doctor's note: you will need a note from your doctor. This is not typically until a month or less before you leave. So you don't want to like get a doctor's note like at the beginning of this process and then expect to submit that right before you head to Japan. Like, it needs to be fairly recent. It's really easy to get. If you don't want to set up an appointment with your primary doctor to get this done, you can actually just go to your local urgent care, and most urgent cares do work-based physicals. That takes like 10 to 15 minutes, and you tell them that you need this for a job in Japan. They'll sign off on it, and that will suffice. Once you receive the certificate of eligibility from Peppy, you will then take it to your local Japanese embassy, consulate, whatever. I was in LA. They have a Japanese consulate there. If your city doesn't have one, then just check the official, just to do like a quick Google search for Japanese embassy near me or something like that. And they'll have an official website that will tell you which embassy in the country looks over things pertaining to which states. So I think the Japanese embassy here in Denver also looks over Utah and Wyoming, for example. Just do that, and you'll submit your certificate of eligibility along with your passport photos to the embassy, and then they will. Oh, you have to include your passport, of course, because they'll affix your work visa to your passport, and they'll just mail it all back to you. And then you're gonna want to hold on to all that stuff, right? Once you get your work visa back in your passport, you're pretty much in the home stretch, and then it becomes a matter of booking your plane ticket to Japan, and that's going to be based off of when your training starts. And once you have your one-way flight, which is always fun, right? You send that information back to the person, the hiring manager or whoever you're working with the school. And then you just kind of wait. You got your documents. You want to hold on to pretty much all the documents that they send you. Get yourself a folder. Just have all your important stuff in it. Then in that meantime, between now you have your documents and you're just sort of in that waiting holding period, you've got your plane ticket. What you'll want to do is order some yen. And typically they want you to order enough to survive for the first month until you get your first paycheck. Because in Japan, you only get paid monthly. So they recommend about 250,000 yen, which is customary pay for most English schools in Japan, right? That's sort of the base rate for most schools. So it's easy enough. If, like, let's say you bank with Wells Fargo or whatever your bank is, just order yen from them and they'll either send it to your house directly or you can pick it up at your local bank branch. Easy enough. Now you've got your money, you've got your work visa fixed to your passport, you've got all your important documents, you've got your flight scheduled. And then all you do is just wait, pack your bags, get on your plane, and you're going to fly into Japan, and they will have somebody waiting for you at the airport, which is, quite comforting actually, because you're sort of, now you're fish out of water, right? You're like, where do I go from here? But it's great. They will have somebody waiting for you at the airport to drive you to the training center, which is a lot like a dormitory in Nagoya. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's like going through the application and hiring process with Peppy Kids Club. If you would like to see me make a video based on what the experience is like after you arrive in Japan, I can definitely do that. I hope this video helped you out. And please leave your comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Give me a like and subscribe. Help my small channel grow. I appreciate you watching this, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.